Yeah, got my whole. I forgot I didn't even throw the fuzzy background on yet. I'm just sitting here, just niggas see my whole fucking fake ass closet in the background. I'm gonna change this shit in real life. Lord have mercy. Welcome back, y'all. We are back. It's another podcast. It's another episode.
This is another episode of the Runners Club podcast, and we have a guest today, and I think we'll just get into the guest quicker than we normally do. I think it could be a good practice because I was listening to our recent podcast, and I was like, for the people who hop onto our podcast, hoping to hear the guest immediately.
Who are those people? Do we even want them here?
Are they welcome?
Who does not want to hear us talk about our lives? What are you guys coming here for?
Yeah, I'm like, y'all are in for a treat for the next 30 minutes before our guest comes. Anyways, here's my update.
Straight up. Like, you knew what it was when it signed up. Like, come on. Are we waiting on the guest? Is the guest ready?
The guest's not here, so we can.
In the green room, just drinking up all our water. Like,
right.
How are you feeling?
Virtual water.
Out
here in the metaverse.
How's it going on your end? How's it going there?
It's going great. And you know what? We're gonna do our updates after.
We're gonna do our updates after. Okay.
Yeah, because our guest is here. So yeah,
right.
Tight, y'all. We'll be right back. It's Britney. Wow. Welcome in. Hey, girl.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. So, okay, Britney Romero, as of recently, I saw you hopped in on Zoom with your old last name. Was that Britney Whitehead?
Yeah, my bad.
No, I'm just, I just want to make sure we're correct here. So Britney, you are a Windrunner. You are a teacher. You are a Chicago woman. And we wanted to have you on here just to talk about all those things. And this also just to talk about how fast you are, because we talk about it all the time. It's like the point of conversation everywhere. And now we've brought it to the podcast. So yes, welcome in.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that I feel like you guys have brought my name up a stupid amount of times. And every time I get on, I'm like, I feel like I'm listening to this like for personal reasons. And I'm like, why? This is the weirdest thing I've ever witnessed. So yeah, it's an honor to finally get to chat with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you listened, because I swear we're like, she's not going to listen to this. We could just...
Yeah, we talk about you with no expectations that you actually hear what we say about you. And most of the people that we talk about.
Yeah, my favorite, I think the first time maybe that I listened, and then you guys because someone said like, you need to listen to them. They're like making jokes or whatever. It was the whole Mike Brown story, which I feel like is like, it's never going to go away. That story is just forever living.
No, definitely. I love it. I don't even remember the story, honestly. I think that was the first time I heard.
Mike was just out of his league, and he tried to keep up with Britney, and he couldn't. He really tried. And it's like, some people try and then they realize. And we also talked about you when we did the recap of 13.1, because you're like right there in the leaderboard of like top 10, I don't know if it was top 5, but you were like right there behind Deanne, Nakuru, and we were just like, Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I told Maya, I was like, I'm going to listen to you. And then she's like, and then I'm like getting on. What the heck? Why? So I told her today, I ran with her this morning, and I was like, we're going to talk about you the whole time now. So you're going to know how it feels.
So let's, before we go back, I mean, I think the half marathon was just super recent. And we've been talking about that with our last few guests about how the experience was being the first half on the west side of Chicago. And then also for you having that extra special experience of running, not in Corral A, but in Corral exempt rank, with all the rest of the professional athletes. Like, what was that experience? And is that the first time you ran in that that top corral?
Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. There was so many, there were so many things that were like different and new. At Shamrock Shuffle, we run in like, I don't even know if it's called the Elite Corral, I think, or something like that. But, and at Chicago Marathon, I did like the American Development, and I've been a part of like these like smaller races that have had like very like casual elite fields. And so it was really funny because on that Sunday, we like got into the elite tent, and the elite field was pretty small for this race. And what they did is, this was the first time I've ever witnessed this. They had the women's elite tent and the men's elite tent, two different separate tents. So it felt like very like, okay, this is the women, this is the men. And like, it was just like just a smaller group of people. Right. So we're in there, like the entire Windrunner team got the elite option. So that was awesome. But then I felt like everyone else was just like one single human from their team. And they were just like really in the zone, really focused. And I was like, I got to reel it back a little bit because like, I'm just having fun, like with the teammates, like we're making jokes. So yeah, I was kind of like, okay, wait, I want to be respectful of these people's like race because like they're here to like really do something big today. Not that we weren't, but we're just used to like joking around and having fun. And so anyways, like we got to the start line. And I felt like they did a really nice job of just like letting us still like kind of, have our runouts and do stuff like that. But we all were saying, like all of the Windrunners, we were saying how like it was so nice having you guys like up there, because I felt like we were just like hanging out. Like we didn't like Robin has us like write like a race recap, and I felt in my race reflection, she was like, what were like one of the questions she asks is, what are you thinking about on the start line? And I was like not thinking about the race. I was so chill, so calm. So like, whatever, like, I don't know. It was just really cool. And like, I know you guys had kind of said like you wanted to have, or like you wanted to call the race just because it was like, that's something that like, it fits more of like that race felt like it would fit more like your guys' personality. And I completely like that whole race just felt really like at home type feeling, like grassroots.
I love that.
Yeah, like it was a cool moment. There was like this turn, like, cause you kind of like went out, like I personally, I feel like I'm still kind of like learning how to like in post COVID, like learning how to race, but then stay within myself, to an extent, because like, I feel like you race so many of the same Chicago people that you're like used to being at this point, or like, this person's ahead of you, this person's behind you. So you kind of like, kind of start to know like where you should be. And then like, there's the crowds, which I mean, you guys did a fabulous job. Like with the RLT, like those were some of my favorite races, the past 2 years. And I just like, I feel like I kind of like vibe with like that, like really small crowd, really chill, like 5 people cheering for you. Like, so it's like, because your energy never gets like too heightened, and then you never like drop down. Cause like, that was one of the things I said is that race, like I had some really high highs and I had some really low lows, because it was like, you were like really feeling great. And then you kind of went like south and you were like not feeling good. But one like cool moment was like you turned like onto Polk Street, and that was like going south, and there was like these women just like outside in their yard. And I was like, it was one of those moments where sometimes you just think about running and you're just like, we shouldn't take this too seriously because we're literally out in these people's neighborhood. They're just waking up in the morning. Like, it's kind of like one of those moments. It's like reality check here. Like I'm over here, like suffering in the middle of 13 miles. Why? I signed up for it. These women are just morning, like talking to their neighbors.
Having a good time.
They're probably looking at us like, what are these psychos doing? Like literally what? Yeah. So honestly, it was such a great race, such a great event. And I think like, I think I told like the team, I was like, I've never smiled at the end of a race. Like, but you guys, when you were like, we know her, I was like, oh yay. Like, this is fun. This is a fun finish to the race. And honestly, looking at my like finishing pictures, I was like, why was I smiling? And then I remembered you guys were like, we were like having a convo.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. But I mean, that's really cool. There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, the Windrunners team and whatnot, like all of y'all are just silly as hell. Like I love being around y'all. I love the opportunities that I had to like come to the Find Your Fast workouts and stuff, track workouts and things like that. Like y'all just all have some real chill energy. So I'm really curious since they broke down the I guess like you said, like the tent situation before the race between the men's and the women, you had that smaller field in that tent. Did y'all's, kind of silliness and lightheartedness or whatnot, I think is a better way to say that. Did it kind of like control the atmosphere? Because I've been in the A Corral maybe twice. And the first time was my first marathon. I don't understand how I filled out the application wrong. And they put me in the A Corral. And like you said, it was like, and I can only imagine how the lease was, but the A Corral, my first marathon, was so intense. Like the energy was palpable or whatever. Like it was like I could feel it. Okay, so like, did you see like some of the elite athletes kind of like come in with that energy? Like, oh, this is race day. I'm in the freaking zone. But then after being around you, Irma, Vanessa, Maya, like all of you all, did you see them kind of like loosen up a little bit, kind of like come down off of that? Did it change the energy a little bit? Or were they just still like steel daggers,
Yeah, I think like in general, I try to like, and I think like Vanessa is someone who's like really good at this. Like when I first met her, she would be like talking to everyone on the start line. And I was like, whoa, like I feel like in college, I tried to do like the whole like, ooh, I'm a badass. Like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like try to like, I don't know, blue steel some people or like give them the mean mug, give them my like race face. I don't know what I was doing in college. Clearly needed to change. But yeah, so I felt like she's someone who like, she's like the queen of like making friends like on the start line. So I feel like ever since like kind of meeting her and joining the team and like, I think we just have a lot of conversations on our team about like, just like making running fun and also realizing like we're here to like be an example for the community, not like beat a bunch of people, if that makes sense. Like we would rather like make people feel welcome and make people like, see our team as like a group of women who like welcome others. And so, yeah, like I felt like we were kind of like chatting it up with some people, like Diane, she was like, what's your guys' pace for today? We're like, no, not quite, nothing that you're like, we literally, I think like she asked it and we were just like silent. We were like, we can't answer that question, but no, she said like she was going to tempo or something because she had a race the next week.
Yeah.
So she was kind of wondering like, are we going to run the same pace as her? And like, no, we're still not. We're going to race it
slower than you. Okay.
Yeah. So like that was cool. And then like we were talking to like Kristen from Second City, and it was just like, one of those things where it's like, even though we're in the tent and there's like these vibes of like, I'm sure some of those girls are feeling like I'm going to beat you or whatever. Like, it's more of like, hey, like this is kind of like our race. Like I felt like we kind of wanted to also like go in there and like show people like, this is what the Chicago running community is like. Like, we may not have like the fastest females, but we do welcome people and try to make it like a fun environment and an exciting like time for people, and feel good about coming and running in Chicago. And because there's nothing worse than just like not feeling welcomed or just feeling like you don't belong. And so that's like a big thing for our team.
Yeah. Well, so since you're talking about the Windrunners, we'd love to know like what your definition or explanation of the Windrunners is and when you started joining them.
Yeah. So I was one of the first people to join the team in 2018, which is just wild. Like something came up on like, one of those like 4 years ago. And it was like just the other day. So yeah, like June 21st, I ran a race. I ran one of those, like the first Nike pop-up race ever. Wild. They put on like a race that was like just right over by my house. And one of my guy friends had told me to just, yeah, you should go. You could win $400. I'm like, yeah, like I'm so sick of going to these races and feeling like, okay, I can win. And then I do too much too early. And then I don't get any money. I walk away like right outside of the prize money. So I was like, whatever. I'm a teacher.
Do you
it was
remember
like summer
which race
break.
it was?
Yeah, it was so it was a 2K. I don't know if you guys, it was June 21st, 2018. I have a stupid memory that remembers really dumb dates. And it was in like West Loop, Fulton Market. And it was like 2 1K laps around like maybe like a 2 block radius or something like that. Were you guys there?
Yeah.
No.
I probably was.
I definitely was not. Yeah.
She's like, no.
I came after the NRC era.
Okay. Yeah. So I went to that race. And I had actually been like seeking out like a team to run with. Because I'd moved to Chicago in 2017 and was like running alone and was just kind of like, why? Like I live in this awesome city. I know that there's tons of groups of people. And after the race, a guy friend introduced me to Emily, which is one of the women who founded the Windrunners through Nike. And then I just like got lunch with them like later that week or like the next week and then joined the team. And the team had just started like the night before that race. They did like a dinner and everything. And then I was just like the last one of the first group to join. But then I'm the only one that's still a part of the team from that group, which is just crazy. Like we've had a lot of changes, but like we just like, made a lot of growth in the past 4 years. And I just feel like we're in such like a cool sweet spot as a team right now. But yeah, and then what Windrunners is like what we
Can I hold on 1 second?
Okay.
I have a question. First, Emily and Robin started Windrunners.
Emily and Slow.
Wait, Emma, what's Emily?
Yes, take it all. We can slow this way down.
Emily, the coach, Emily.
No. Emily, okay, give me a second on her last name. She got married. So now I'm like,
I think that was, no. She works for Nike. Yeah. Okay. So and Slow works for Nike.
Yep. So they originally started our team. Emily Luzzo. Do you know Emily Luzzo?
Yes, I believe. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. She might have a new last name now.
Yeah. Okay.
So Emily and Slow started the Windrunners in 2018, and they were in charge of our team. So it was a very unique like dynamic because, and I've said this before, like they had this idea for our team. It wasn't like people were seeking out our team, if that makes sense. Like they created the team. So they had to find women to run on the team. Right. And they also had to like find a coach, right? Which is a little bit backwards because usually like a coach is the one who's like in charge of a team and a coach is the one who like probably finds runners or like vice versa, right? There's like that back and forth dynamic. So those two women,
your own coach.
No. Robin was our coach, but like they were in charge. So like if we wanted to do anything, we had to communicate with them. Like if we had questions about anything, it was all through them. And Robin was just like, I will be at practice and that's it. Like kind of thing. Not in like a negative way. It was just like, that was her role.
That was the structure, right?
Yeah. And then, and I think the reason why like that first group of women, like we didn't last like an entire year or whatever was because like all of those women were people that they found and then said, hey, would you like to join this team? And if Nike approaches anyone, I'm going to think everyone's going to say yes. Right.
Of
But then
course.
it's like, then you start to realize like, oh, do I really want to commit to like all this training? Do I really want to run all these races? Like, I think then people started to realize like, is this a fit for me?
Right.
And then we started implementing like the time standards and so I think one of the reasons like I've stayed on the team is because like I was already seeking that out and like it has really vibed with like who I am as a person, who I am as a runner. And then we've just like grown and like I think what's been cool is like my relationship with Robin has developed and like now I feel like they Robin and Kelsey have asked for my input on certain things or like where it's like I've been around but then it's also helpful because I feel like it helps like our vision for the team. Like we're always communicating about like, does this align with like what we want to accomplish as a team?
Yeah.
And like 2020, it was weird because there was all like that funding with, because you guys, Gumbo Fit, I remember you guys were huge in 2019. That was like your blow up, right? Glow up.
Yeah. And then 2020, like we maintained through the races.
Yes. Yeah, and I felt like, that was like a cool thing for the Windrunners because that was like when with us, like with Nike, we kind of had to like not pause with Nike, but we just like, they were kind of on like taking a conservative approach with COVID. So then what we did, they were just like, you know what, you guys can continue to do things and like, we'll support you, but we can't say like Nike is in charge of this or is like starting this or heading this up. It's like you guys. So then kind of after COVID, Robin then decided like, I'm going to take over the Windrunners.
Yeah.
And we've kind of then started to see like, we can do a lot on our own because before that, like we just kind of felt like we had to go through Nike to get stuff done. And which makes sense that it's going to take more because they want to make sure like, that everything is aligned.
It's a lot of bureaucracy. Yeah. But I kind of love that story. Just hop in for a minute. Like I love that story because it's like it seems like the Windrunners was born in a room and stuff like that. Yeah. And it started there and it's grown there, but then now because of the COVID, because of these things that have happened to us, it's given the Windrunners opportunity to kind of transform into what the essence of what a Chicago Run Club is. And now at this point with Find Your Fast, even the way y'all are searching for runners and things like that, it's a community based.
1,000%.
It's technically, because I always get confused about the pro, semi-pro situation and stuff like that. Is the Windrunners is it pro? Is this semi-pro?
It's sub-elite, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's
so
okay.
Like I think the way that I would talk about like a professional runner is like you have like a professional contract, right? So you're someone who is like, that's your job. You get paid. Like, it's almost like mind blowing. I feel like for us, like normal humans, we're like, so when you're a runner for Nike, they pay you a salary. Like, whoa, that's like, I feel like for us, that's wild.
Right.
But yeah, no, we are just like partnered and supported by Nike.
Got you.
Yeah.
I love it. But you run in that sub-elite field and stuff, but that's more of that speaks more to the team's ability as athletes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We're not, just because we're on Windrunners, we're not given anything from races. Sometimes like Chicago, like races that are done by Nike, they are obviously like try to look out for us a little bit more, but there's definitely been times where we've like our team has been in like the A corral and things like that, like we're never like, automatically allowed to be in these certain corrals. And especially like when we go run races that are not hosted by Nike, like we're just like everyone else where we have to, email them, submit our times and yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that because I mean, where the Windrunners is now, it does feels like it's a community, it's a community run club and whatnot. It's hyper specialized, and the skill set is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it coming out of the pandemic and being in y'all space now, because when I heard of the Windrunners, like during the RTL series, it was like, oh my God, like this is like the sub elite team and stuff like that. They come into run and it felt very far away and stuff like that. Like, especially for me coming into the running community, coming into the world of running and not even knowing like the names of all these athletes and all of these elite athletes and stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay. So these are the sub elite women who are representing Chicago on the main stage and stuff like that. But now getting to know all of you all, thanks to Vanessa and stuff like that, realizing like, no, these just good Chicago people. You know what I'm saying?
Just another human.
The community forward. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes it nicer and more approachable. And I love that y'all had the opportunity to do that instead of just being a corporate running thing,
1000%. Yeah. I feel like, because I think Ian, I first met you at One Chicago, that 5K we put on.
Yeah.
And that was just like super cool. So I feel like, for a lot of people, like, there were some really tough times during like the year of 2020, 2021. But I feel like for groups like Gumbo Fit, for like 7 on Sundays, like for Windrunners, I thought it was just so cool, like the connections that we were able to make. And I love that you use that word, like approachable, because that's 1000% like what we want to be as a team. And we want to be like, I don't want to say it in like a cocky way, but we do want to be like an inspiration for females in Chicago. We don't want to feel like we're doing this and it is not something that anyone else can do. Like, we want others to feel like these are goals that they can achieve as well. And that's why we put on like Find Your Fast. And it is so cool seeing some of these women, like they, especially like if they didn't run in high school, they didn't run in college, they don't know what it feels like to be surrounded by people that are at your same level, that are working hard. And as a sub-elite runner, like a lot of women deal with just like running with men a lot, which no hate, nothing wrong with running with a guy, but there's just something different about like running next to a female, knowing like she's struggling, she's putting in the effort just as much as you are. And like has those goals, has those dreams. It's just like, there's something cool and powerful. So to be able to like share that with the Chicago community is like, it's a big part of who we are.
Yeah. And you all are, because you had your Find Your Fast, which was really great, of like literally women finding their fast. And you did it for the second time leading up to 13.1. And now I just saw that you all are advertising for more teammates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that all about?
Yeah. So unfortunately, we have like 3 girls that are leaving the team. They're all moving out of state. And so we just kind of are opening our program back up. I think it was just like super cool. Like we've said it like all of 2022, like it was really cool seeing like Irma and Maya work together during Find Your Fast and like kind of like, just kind of like working together through that. And so our hope is that like, kind of like through these Find Your Fast programs, our hope isn't like, oh, we want to find more teammates, but at the end of the day, like we're encouraging these women to, like you said, find their fast. And like some of their fast is like our qualifying standards. And that's what we want. Like, and a big part of our team is like, we do know that like there aren't a lot of opportunities for like diversity in distance running. And like, I think that's like a big part is that like, we want to make sure that we are inclusive to like, everyone, to make sure that they feel like that there's, an opportunity for everyone to be a part of this team. And it isn't something for just, white females.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I get that. And I can see how Find Your Fast would be a really good, point of entry and stuff like that, because you get that opportunity, to run with other people that are at your level or even above your level. You get to push forward, and you get the opportunity to be in this what is it? I already forgot what it was. What, semi-elite or whatnot, pro, sub-elite situation and things like that. Because you know, in the Black and brown communities, you don't always get the opportunity to be in that space and in that world. Like you said, like in the last 4 or 5 years, me and Courtney has done what we can to build an apparatus or just like a community for Black and brown runners to just even get into the sport of running. But while I've been in this sport, I've realized there have been so many collegiate athletes who may have come from track and field, who stopped running, 3, 4, 5 years ago because they didn't have a place to continue their love for running and stuff like that. And road running was looked at as something that white people do and things like that. And so now we have this influx of some people who are like me getting into running in their late 20s, early 30s, or who are like Kelsey, who've been, running since high school and college, who's having this opportunity to participate in this sport. And now here we go. As a woman, you had this opportunity to be in the space of this sub elite, try out, do a walk on tryout. Like, I think that's a big deal. And then that gives the Windrunners the opportunity, as for, from what it seems like from conception to now being predominantly white. Now you have, because like you said, Slow and Emily were pulling from maybe people they knew, their community and stuff like that. So now it ends up being mostly white. But now you get this opportunity. You're seeing more runners that look like you, don't look like you, come from your same background, don't come from your background and stuff like that. Now you get to pull from this bigger pool, and boom, diversity and equity gets to pop its beautiful little head in, and you get a more well-rounded running organization. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I feel like what you said is so true. Like, we don't want it. Like when you said that word approachable, like we don't want it to be approachable for just, white women and their 20 somethings. We want it to be approachable for the runners of Gumbo Fit, for the runners of 7 on Sundays. Like, we want to see that like continue to like that like growth for like anyone. Like Maya, for instance, I feel like she just has like the coolest story, because I remember her during our one Chicago 5K. She was like on Team Blue or whatever. And I remember Vanessa, because I think Vanessa had gone to Gumbo, and she's like, dude, she is fast. Like, she's got potential. She was a collegiate like soccer player. Like, she's good. And I remember she ran like some sort of like really good time at that 5K. And then, like during Vine Your Fast, like when we were having them do that mile, like we were just like eyes on her, like so focused. Like, we're like, okay, we know what we're doing here. Like, we have an agenda.
Right.
So yeah, so I feel like that's kind of like what's really cool is like you guys have like these groups where it's like you're just welcoming everyone from the community, and then to kind of see them like start to kind of like get towards our like our time standards is really awesome, because then it's like we're then able to kind of say like, okay, like let's make that push. And one of our like ways that we're trying to do that with this like new application is we lowered our like distance to the 800. So we thought like, okay, like one way that we could probably try and get more diversity is like through like putting like a time standard, or like looking for collegiate runners that like maybe did the 800, maybe did the 400, that like, kind of like have that like, that that wants to run. And like, yeah, because like you said, after college, it's like, what do you do? People like, that's the best part about running is like, it's one of the easiest sports to kind of get into after you finish with college. So it's just like
that was Kelsey, by the way, a fellow Windrunner, trying
oh my God, I love it.
the conversation.
Wait, is she coming in?
No, she just FaceTimed me. So I was like, wow, perfect timing, Kelsey.
I love it. So I feel like
I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, and that's pretty cool that y'all brought it down to the 800, because and let me know if I'm wrong, because we're gonna get into your college a little bit. If you're coming out of college and you seeing people ask for your 10K, your half marathon, your marathon times. That's a hard
Yeah.
translation. It's like I've never ran those, and I probably would never run those. Because I mean, from what I see from most track and field athletes, they look at the mile like it's a marathon. So
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool because, like, once again, same word. It makes the Windrunners, it makes the application more approachable because it's like, oh, I can do some 5Ks, I can do some 10Ks, and just
Right.
like majority of the runners that, especially in Gumbo Fit right now, because that's where I met a lot of runners who are now multi-half marathoners, multi-marathon runners. They pulled up in Gumbo Fit when I was still a captain there, and they just started running. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's my first 3 miles. This is my first 10K, but seeing them now where they was like, oh, I would never run a marathon. I would never do a half. And watch them over the years slowly inch up. And now they've done multiple of them has been like the greatest gift and stuff like that. That's thoroughly what I enjoy about, being in the gumbo universe and whatnot. Cause in 7 on Sunday, it's like the way we started off with 7 miles, 7 a.m., for the majority of the time that we've been doing this has been pretty much established runners who have been running probably by themselves and just didn't have a space to come to and stuff. But these people are freaking runners. Like, they not looking at a marathon like, ew, I won't touch that. They like, no, let's fucking go. Like, I'm PR and I'm trying to go to Boston this year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brittany, are you, you said that you moved to Chicago in like not too long ago or like around?
Yeah. So I'm from Elgin, which is a like northwest suburb of Chicago.
Okay. So you're from Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Midwest girl.
Yes, 1000%. I went to school at Eastern Illinois, and that's where I've been. I've not left Illinois. So I just moved to Chicago from the suburbs. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. I actually used to drive up to Elgin all the time for work.
Oh, okay.
I'm familiar. Yeah. It's not too far. It's not too far.
But it's much better being in the city for sure.
And then as a teacher, how do you go from like, do your kids ask you about your running? Do they ask you about like how you get active and like, how do you incorporate it into your learning?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually coached cross country like my second year of teaching. Where I went to high school, I was still living at home and I was teaching in Schaumburg, and then I was coaching in Elgin. So that was cool. Kind of like giving back to my alma mater. But then I moved to Chicago. My boyfriend at the time, now my husband, was living in Chicago, and I just, whatever, didn't want to live in my parents' house anymore. So I moved to Chicago. And then I ended up getting a new job in River Grove, which is just like Oak Park right outside the city. And so in River Grove is just like super cool. My principal, he's like really, just really, really into like whatever our passions are. He's like, go, like make these clubs, do what you want to do. So in 2018, I did way too much. That first year I did the marathon. I joined the Windrunners. I was running Chicago. I started teaching kindergarten. And then I also did a all girls running club at my school. And it was amazing. And what we ended up doing is, we ended up running like a 5K. It was really similar to like Girls on the Run. But after I taught kindergarten, I moved up into 6th grade. And then since then have kind of continued that like girls running club at my school. And so that's like my main way to kind of give back. I also coach cross country at Fenwick. So I do that in the fall. And then in the spring, I do the girls running club. But then within that 2018 year, my kids were like, I saw you on a commercial. Like, so it was just like so funny. I'm like, oh God, like, oh, that's really not what I was going for. But yeah, because I forgot what there was. I think there was like some sort of like legit ad out that like parents were seeing and like saying stuff to me about. So that was kind of funny. But and then like when I was running Chicago Marathon in 2018, a bunch of my other coworkers were also running the marathon. So it was kind of like a fun thing at school because everyone kind of knew, like the kids knew we were training for the marathon and stuff like that. But then even like we have like a cross country program at our school, and I'm like constantly now I teach sixth grade. So those 6th, 7th, and 8th can do cross country, like can do our sports at our school.
Yeah.
And I'm like constantly checking in with those girls and the boys on our team. And I'm like, okay, what was your time? Like, and I've gone to a couple of their races and stuff. But yeah, we have a really good like rapport. And I feel like I'm constantly like, they know that I'm like very into running, and I think I just like weave that into my, as a teacher, you're kind of like, you're just constantly talking.
Yeah.
Which you can see I'm like obviously not bad at. I do it all day. But yeah, like I just feel like I'm like, you know, we'll have like these heart-to-heart conversations, like these class meetings, family meetings. And, you know, like I'll like give them like kind of like share like a little like tidbit about like my life and my running. Like, in this year, I implemented like gratitude journals as a part of my, like daily lesson. And so like, that would be like a big part, because I would share like what I was grateful for that day, and then would like, you know, ask them to share what they're grateful for. So they know like every detail about my life. I try not to really share, like, they know I'm on a team, but I try not to be like, I don't know. You know, I try
they
not
don't know
to
you
really,
this shit.
Part of the reason.
Like, they know you run.
Right.
They don't know that you the Britney in the city.
Yeah, they don't know you. That's the Britney. The famous Britney.
They need to listen to your podcast.
Right, exactly. Which I don't.
Teachers are fast. I want to say teachers are very fast. I'm seeing this as a common thread in my life. Like teachers, you know, how fast is it because you're chasing kids all day? Like, where's this thing with speed in teachers?
I think there's probably a piece to like the fact that we're teachers means that we can handle a little bit of energy. Like we've got probably some natural energy. And then I think there's probably the piece of like, you need a little mental release, either to start the day or at the end of the day. So I think it goes really well hand in hand. And I just feel like what I've always said about like running and teaching is like, I'll get to school and I feel great. I just had practice. Like I just got my butt kicked in like these workouts, and my kids are probably just like, you know, some of my coworkers are just rolling out of bed, getting to school. And you know, like, I feel like I'm like, you know, I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram post where I had to cut out my hair because I had like this nasty thing. Yeah. Like,
oh my God.
It's wild, right? It's wild what we do. And I think just sometimes like, you know, that's a big part. And I just know like I go straight from these workouts to school, and I, you know, you
got an endorphin shot. Like you just ready to go. Like whatever.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why I asked too is because when I was in middle school, it was like, it was around the middle school time. I had a teacher who also was a runner, and she was just like, I just remember seeing her and being like, she's really fit. And like, I couldn't put my finger on it. And so then one time she just happened to talk about the fact that she was like training for a race. And I would say that was like the first introduction to the idea of like long distance running, because I remember being like, she's fit. Like, what does she do? Because other people around me don't look like her. And it's just like those little moments, it's like, I don't really think about it a lot, but recently it came back to me and I'm like, she doesn't even realize.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Right. Like I have some students that are like, I don't know, by the end of the year, you become like best friends. Like you feel like you're like your student's mom. Like it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But one of my students, like towards the end of the year, because, you know, you start wearing like a t-shirt or a sleeveless top. She's like, poking my arm, and she's like,
oh
what
yeah.
is that? What is that? I'm like, I don't know, you know.
I was just about to ask you. I was just about to ask you when the kids getting unruly, do you just flex a little bit? Like you don't want no problems. Like just sit
in
down.
sixth grade,
quiet.
in sixth grade, they ask the funniest questions, and they notice everything. They're, you know, it's a great age because they have quite the personalities. So yeah, I feel
Oh
like
my God.
you, Courtney, like describing that is like half of the girls in my grade level. They're like, what's going on with
What's
you?
happening here?
We went to a field trip, like right before the school year ended. And, we went to Brookfield too, which I don't know if you guys have been, but we were like way turned around. Like we had this map, and when I was like, oh my God, we are on the other side of where we're supposed to be. And we got to get on the bus. Like I had like
Brookfield
a small
is
group of
huge and confusing.
yeah, I had the group of like 7 kids, and I'm like, we have 5 minutes to get back to the bus. Like we're on the opposite side. So I'm like, all right, guys, every man for themselves. Like we're walking like at this ridiculous pace. And they're like, I'm dying. Mrs. Romero, like what is going on? Like, and we're just like, I feel like we're just, whoa, sorry. Oh wait, Kelsey.
She's trying, right. She's trying to interrupt the conversation.
So funny. But anyway, so my kids are like laughing, and they're like, we're like dying laughing, and like also all like in a very like almost like dead sprint. And they're like, how do you do this? How are you not tired? And then like one of the kids like randomly just goes like, did you run this morning? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I think that makes her go like that gives her more energy. Like they like had this moment, and I was just like, this is
epiphany. Like, oh my God.
I'm like, whoa.
Wow, that helped her to, yeah. They're like, wow, she can walk fast too. Okay.
So funny. What is your like go, like do you have going back to you and like just because we always laugh about the fact that you are a teacher. So, and I always just thought like you went from teaching to running and you just kept it separate. So it's good to know that like it's refreshing for me to hear that you have other things on your plate. Cause I was like, if she just runs and teaches, I'm jealous. Like, I'm like, if that's all she's got, I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, but it's like, it's nice to hear that you're teaching other students and like, and yeah, I mean, obviously teaching already is a lot of work. My stepmom's a teacher and I'm like, couldn't do it. But I just want to know, like, for you personally, what it like, I know it seems like you're basically also a leader within Windrunners. Like, do you have any goals, like personally or tied into Windrunners that like for this year, as far as like races or other things with your kids?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I know. Maybe I need to think about those myself. Yeah, I think in general, like our team, like our main goal right now is to like add diversity to our team. Like we saw some stupid statistic that was like only, and I could see if I could look it up because I think I sent it to someone, but only like 20% of female African Americans have broke 3 hours in the marathon. It was a really, really, really small number. Mm-hmm. And so I like sent it to the team and I was like, this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Just like, I think, you know, you look at someone like Maya and it's just like, I see that potential in her. So it's like, we want more of that. And it's like so sad that it's amazing. She's an amazing human, like that she's going on to be a doctor in Philly, but just like sad that we had such a short amount of time with her. And so like, I think just like continuing to add that diversity because I feel like we just like really hit like a cool sweet spot. I feel like in the past like year to 6 months, with our team. And I think just continuing to like be like within the community more and to continue to add girls to the team that can really, you know, we can see like big growth from. So that's kind of like a team goal right now. We don't have, I wouldn't say that we have any like specific team goals. I think we for sure want to like, it would be amazing to get someone to qualify for the Olympic trials. We have had in the past when the time standard was 2:45. And then like Maeve and I got super close to 2:45 the last fall, but then they just lowered the time standard to 2:37. So
that's a jump.
Hits different.
Mhm.
So I think in general, like, there's like been a lot of conversations that a lot of people like that have run like similar times to me have had like,
Mhm.
like what's hard is like, there's these time standards to like qualify for the Olympic trials that are, whatever. They're it's a time at the end of the day, right? It's a time that
Right.
someone like humans have created to say whether or not you're a quote unquote good marathoner, right? And so it's like 2 years ago, if I ran 2:45, I was one of the best marathoners in our country, right? And then it's like this year, if I run 2:45, I'm not quite there. You know what I mean? So it's
You're
like
average good.
Yeah. So then it's kind of like one of those things where it's just like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be like, I think in general for myself, I don't quite think that 2:37 is like where I can be right now.
Right.
Not
Do
saying
you
I'll
think
never
the
get
sport
there.
is just getting bad, like just faster and faster?
Yeah. And I think like personally for myself, like my first marathon, I ran 2:58, then 2:52, then 2:47. So it's like, I've seen myself increase or decrease, I guess I should say, and like get faster as well. So I'm not counting myself out, but I just think in general, sometimes it's like, we still need to celebrate like little things along the way. So it's like this year, I don't run a 36:59 or whatever, I run 2:40 or I run 2:42, 2:43. And like, that's amazing, So I just think
that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
I think it's just like keeping that in perspective and like trying to also find like little goals along the way. And just like remembering that like we all do this for fun at the end of the day. Like I try not to take running too seriously, and going to practice and running with my team is like the best part of my day. And like the second it's not the best part of my day, then I need to reflect and think about like what's going on here. And I think if I were to try to maybe go for like a 2:37 time standard, like that's when I think maybe it wouldn't be as fun anymore, because it would feel like a lot of pressure. And yeah, if that makes sense. So I'm running CIM in December, which is a great race, California International Marathon. It's a great race to try to run like a really fast time. So we'll try to do that there, and like just really not put any pressure on myself to do anything that's crazy, but always like, always trying to PR and just, be a good human.
Yeah. I mean, if your goal is progression, like you're going to continue to progress. But I kind of love that you want, like, you realize that new standard for the Olympic time can change. It can definitely affect your running journey when you're chasing down that time, because it probably does take like this. I don't know what's the best word to use, but it'll probably take like this higher level of commitment, this higher level of more time, you know what I'm saying? More pressure on these workouts that might now change your relationship with it. So, being mindful of that is very important. And I think it's good to say that in the sense of, that 2:37 is your, goal that you're chasing. But even if you a 5-hour marathon and your goal is to do sub 5 hours and stuff like that, like if you're in the process of running and you're training and stuff, your goal over the next 20 weeks should just be, hey, I need to train better. I just want to go a little bit harder than I went last training season and stuff like that. And so this year, if you do complete the Chicago under sub 5, that's cool. But putting all of this pressure to hit these certain times and you feel like you're not achieving that during the course of the training, don't allow it to change your relationship with running. Don't ruin your entire summer over this time.
Yeah. And I think like people really do like kind of get stressed about like pace. And I feel like sometimes it's like the cool thing about a marathon, like training for a marathon, is like it's not until like that last month that you start to really start like clicking off sometimes. Like, and I personally always feel like I don't want to set like a legit goals for myself until I get like, you know, until I've done like my longest long run, or until I've done like those last couple that are like, you know, that's like the meat and potatoes. That's when you really kind of see your fitness. So I feel like to start out a marathon block with a goal in mind is tricky, because you don't know what these next 3 to 4 months are going to hold for you. And so, yeah, so I completely agree with you that, you know, whatever that goal is that, you know, always be like mindful of just, you know, everything else going on in your life. And you could totally like shock yourself on the day. Yeah.
Well,
and I think like,
oh, go ahead.
I think like one of the things, like you were kind of saying it, Ian, earlier, like the marathon is like one of those things that like, I don't necessarily love that like people like have to run a marathon, because you don't, you know, like I think it's just one of those things where like I was never like really sold on it for a while. And I think just in general, I think it's just good to like remember that like there are other races out there. There are other distances. So like when you were kind of saying like coming out of college, like a lot of people are like, oh, like that seems way too long. Like I was definitely one of those people. And like you said, you start just creeping up, because everyone's just creeps up. But yeah, and I think that's one thing for myself too, that I kind of reevaluated when like they changed that time standard to 2:37. I was like, I have these other millions of other like distances that I have goals for as well, that like I can just kind of like reshift my focus, or like come up with still goals that are like lofty goals that are going to be tricky and challenging, like competing in like a US champs, I feel like would be like just a really cool goal. Cause there's like, I don't know if you guys are aware, like there's just like, there's a 6K US champs. There's a 10K US champs. Like there's so many different road US champs races that I feel like, you know, would just be just as exciting to be in a part of as a, you know, Olympic trials.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think it's always like about that, like reshifting your focus, keeping you a little bit hungry.
And did you say that you did long distance in high school and college? Or like
yeah, so in high school I ran like, in my freshman sophomore year, I ran like anything from like the 100 to the 800 or 2 mile. And then my junior year I ran, because then I think my junior year is when I shifted and did the 300 hurdles and the 100 hurdles. And then I started doing like the heptathlon. And then my senior year, I went back to the 800. And then when I went to Eastern, I ran 800 my freshman year, 800, and then started working my way up. Like my coach at Eastern was like, hey, you ran the hurdles in high school and now you run cross country. We should put you in the steeple. So I ran the steeple. That was like my main event in college. And then I was like mid distance, but I never felt like I was someone like, I always felt like I had like a little bit more speed rather than endurance. Like in college, like there's people that run like the 10K, which is like, basically they are the people that are going to get out of college and go right to the marathon. And I felt like I had a lot of teammates that were like, I love long runs and I love like, and I'm like, that is not me. Like I love running fast at the end of a race. So yeah, so it took me a little bit to get even sold on wanting to do one marathon. Like I graduated in 2013 and I didn't run my first marathon until 2018.
Yeah. Okay. So I ran my first marathon in 2019. So that's hilarious. Cause I would have been like, I would assume you would have done more. My last question for you before we wrap up is, your husband, is he active? Do you run together? Because I know you're newly married. So I just want to highlight that, because you know he's a newly fiancéed man, and you're like married, and I know that's been probably like a year. But like, how's that going, and how do you like bring fitness into your relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question. He is literally my number one cheerleader. He is
What's his
the
name?
most amazing.
His name. I just want to make, because I know I don't.
Yeah, shout out to Donnie.
Donnie, okay.
Donnie, you see that blessing?
Donnie Romero, okay, yes.
Yeah, so he's literally like my number one cheerleader. But fun little side story that he and I both met in college. We were both on the track team together. He was a thrower though. So definitely he fits in the category of like, what the heck are these marathoners doing?
Yeah.
Like he's a huge, like before I joined the Windrunners, like all my long runs, he would bike with me. He's like super chill and cool and calm and collected. And he loves like going out on the lakefront path, you know, he's got his tunes. He's just cruising. So I'm sure you guys saw him in like any of the races, like him biking. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and then your guys' first RLT, he ran the 5K. Like, I don't even know if you would have known that.
I remember. I saw it. The thing is, I know he's not.
You see it all.
You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. And I saw your post about how you guys like kind of met and how like you were dating someone else, and then like when he put up, then he kind of made his move.
Yeah.
And so like I just think your story is really cute. I love that he was a thrower, and I just love always seeing him on his bike supporting you, and I think it's so adorable. So yeah, that run, I didn't know that was his first 5K, but I knew that it meant something.
Yes. Yeah. So he's awesome. But I know that like, obviously you guys both have, you know, relationships where you guys are both runners, which is wild. But he like runs, he dabbles in the running a bit, and I think he's definitely like motivated, but I think it's one of those things where, like I said, I think post, you know, college, you know, what's the most accessible little thing that also like kind of keeps you driven, kind of keeps you going is like running is great because like anyone can hop in a 5K. Anyone can like want to get a better time than the last time that they ran one. Right. So, so yeah, I think I want to see him in a half marathon sometime because his goal is to run, his longest run he's ever done is 8 miles. His goal is to run 10. So I said, if you're going to run 10.
Double digits.
You might as well.
Come on.
Get a medal, get a beer and banana.
Exactly.
Let's freaking go. You know?
Yeah. So it's really fun, like when I get to flip the switch and cheer him on. So yeah.
That's really special.
Well, if my fiance gets picked up during this application period, I need to sit down with Donnie. We need an offshoot Windrunner support team.
Oh yeah, we have like dogs of Windrunners, husbands of Windrunners, boyfriends of Windrunners. You know, as long as you got a fan, you got a supporter. I think that's what keeps everyone going. You know.
Yeah, love it. Well,
because a lot of this running stuff is stupid, right?
Oh like, no, it's so stupid. You sound like Coach Robin. You guys are literally hilarious. I love the both of you.
Like we wake up so early and I don't do anything on Friday nights. Like, you know, like poor guy. He's like, can we go somewhere? Can we do something?
Like, no, I have to wake up.
I have to run 1,000 miles tomorrow. Like,
I don't know. This is my fun.
It's gonna be so hot in Chicago. So I have to like be drinking water. I can't drink a beer. I'm like so dumb. But after the run, I definitely will drink beers with him. So he gets the best of both worlds.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah, me and Karen are going on we're cutting our margaritas in half for the summertime.
Hilarious. I didn't even realize Karen drank like that, which makes it so much more funny to me. I thought it was just Ian.
No,
she knew you did, but
she getting me off scotch and whiskey and into tequila because my job is making frozen margaritas. That is
that's amazing.
What I am here for. So
I love that. We need to have a reunion. Once these applications come out, we'll have runs, margaritas. We're here for it all.
Let's do it. I love it.
I just appreciate you just telling us, a little bit more about like the story of Windrunners and also just like letting us into just what your routine is a little bit more so that like, you know, Britney is not a robot. Britney's a human being, you know, she's human. And it's interesting too, to hear like what your sense of like, I don't know if competition is the right word, but just like where you are as a sub-elite athlete and like how you see other athletes and even just the expectations of sub-elite athletes. It's definitely something that's interesting because we hear often from like elite athletes who are at the top. And it's like, I think there's something really special about the sub-elite that are, to, Ian's point, that you can be a little bit more approachable to people who are like, okay, like I can move a little quicker and then potentially get to this space or be around these people, because Windrunners is definitely that kind of like, you filter out what the community, how the community gathers, you kind of filter through them and then really find like these gems who could, have so much potential. So
yeah,
you're doing
exactly.
And I love that you're working with kids. So I feel like this conversation was overdue, but also perfect timing, because Windrunners, again, you guys, has their application out. How many positions are you looking to fill? Like, how many girls are you looking to take on?
Yeah, I think like anywhere from like 3 to 5, maybe. I don't know. I need to double check on those. We try to, I think, keep our number right around 15.
Okay.
So
love it.
Yeah.
You guys are a small and mighty group, like I love it. Yeah, it's intention. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This was so fun. And I'm really glad that, I got to get on here and chat with you guys. And you guys didn't have to say anything about me when I'm not on the podcast,
I'm going to talk about you. Definitely still going to do that. But yeah, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love it. That was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like we're definitely going to have Britney back. I honestly really enjoy, I think hearing about the work she's doing with kids and just like her passion for running was really great. And yeah, I think we needed a humanizing moment for Britney, because people be talking about her like she's a robot because she's so fast. You don't have no time to talk to her because she's so fast.
Exactly. Like she's celebrating, she's smiling, she's happy at every freaking race. And then all of a sudden there's this freaking flip that switches. And then she's like done like 1,000 minutes before you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, at what point in time? At one point in time, do you have to talk to the person that's on the podium? Like, so it was really awesome to get to know about about Britney, the Britney Romero. Okay, the Britney bitch. All right, she is here. She has arrived.
Yeah, that was good. So now I feel like, if you gotten this far,
that's the title of the episode. Don't
Britney bitch. You think she'll get mad at us? You think she'll get mad at us? It's Britney bitch, and then we can just put a whole bunch of characters in the. Yeah, actually, that actually needs to happen.
Yes.
She's gonna be like, "You guys are annoying." I'm a teacher.
Yes, this is the episode you play for your children in class. So what's up? We didn't get to do updates in the front. You know what I'm saying? For the people who only want to hear our guests,
there you go.
There you go. You can press stop now.
Yeah, you can stop. Yeah, if you don't care to hear about us, just stop.
Yes, go to the next episode. So what's going on with you, fam? How's it feeling? Ain't shit going on.
Why would you? I feel like I should go last, because like
ain't nothing going on with me. I'm out here. Like I was sweating the other day. It was 120 degrees in my store. I closed that motherfucker right up and went home. It was with me and August in there. We had French fries and we was like sweating on our French fries. Like it was ridiculous. It was ridiculously hot. It's been ridiculously hot. I am like, I don't know, like shit is just happening. We got the runs, we got the weekly runs that last lap. We got the panel this Friday, which this episode's probably be out after the panel and whatnot. Which I still need to come up with some questions. I'm still working on questions for the panel. But like it's nothing. It's not too much. I realized that my lease is up sooner than I thought. So I would be moving in with my fiance a lot sooner than she expected. Expected. Probably in like 3 weeks.
Oh, like mid-July.
No, like first week of July.
First week of July is next week, my guy.
Shit.
That's like it's like 2 weeks away. Yeah, it's not 3 weeks. It's like 2.
It's wild. It's wild. So, we out here making adult decisions on what we gonna do, how we gonna do it. It's a really interesting time. This has to be the love of my life. I would not be living in Chicago for about 9 months. I would be living on the outskirts of society in the suburbs, in obscurity.
Watch you
Taking a
fall
message
in love
train
with
every
the
day.
peace and quiet and
You know what?
backyard and
I do spend an unnecessary amount of time in the suburbs, and I will say I do get it. I do get it. I get it. I see why people enjoy it and why they're out there, and why people make their families happen in that space. Like I get it. It makes sense. Like I can see myself being a suburban dad and shit. Like I saw where I fit, but ill.
Nice.
I am. I need to be in the city. That's where I want to be. Luckily, Karen wants to be in the city. We just trying to figure it all out. We might not even spend 9 months out there. We might spend a month. We never know.
Yeah.
Things are changing rapidly.
I love
That's it. That's all I got. As you saw, August came in at like 4 times looking for apple juice. I thought I cleaned this cup out and forgot to put apple juice in it. And so he was just like, I don't have time. He told me verbatim while I was on mute. He was like, "Dad, I don't have time for you to finish your call. I need apple juice now." I'm like, you lucky.
August is sassy. The way he says things, the way that when you recorded your IG story the other day where he was like, "Why you call me out?"
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Like August will tell you what he's thinking.
He was like, I don't have no other word for spicy. Nigga. Like, I don't know. This juice doing something that it don't normally do. Why you calling me out, fam? It's bubble.
Why call me out?
Frisbee.
Yeah, no, he's smart.
He's fun. But that's it. There's nothing for me. I'm just out here living every day like it's golden. How about you? How things are going with you? I mean, you just out here making announcements on IG. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go live because I just feel like I just need to share this in person with you right now. Like this could have been a post, but I don't need you to read this. Like I just need you to just hear it coming from me.
I was like, I'll have time curating a motherfucking caption, talking about da 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 da. I'm like, oh, let me just go on live and just tell you guys what's going on. And I knew it. I was like, as soon as I post this, Ian's gonna have something to say next time we record. Like I already.
I was on the live.
Oh,
it's like
no.
all of our social media, like all 3 of the freaking apps, accounts that I have on here was like, Courtney's going live right now. I was like, what the fuck she on here doing? I get on there, you like mid. It's the end of an era. It's the end of an era. Things are changing. I'm gonna miss this part. And I don't have the words, but I just came on here to speak to you. I was like, okay, here we go. Let's do it. The movers must have confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, the cat is out the bag. I'm moving to LA, and it's been a crazy ride. At this point, I'm just going to give you guys week by week updates because I just want to keep it a buck. And because I've also realized that a lot of people have a lot of questions about moving. And because this is my second move. I moved from Minnesota to Chicago and like had to figure my shit out here and then got comfortable and found my running fam and started a career in running, which is wild. And now I'm doing it again in LA. So I have no idea what that holds. And I just realized more and more that like, as I talk to other people who are interested in like moving out of the city or whatever, like, I'm like, let me do this. Okay. So I'm committed, Ian, if you're committed with me to ride this ride and you can, and I just ask you, please just ask me questions and I promise I will answer.
Okay. There we go.
Because now the cat is out the bag.
Yes.
So yeah.
Courtney is going to LA.
I'm going to LA.
It's not even Courtney that's going to LA. It's your brother that's going to LA. I can't wait. My man had a packing video the other day. I was like, okay, the daily vlogs are coming.
I missed it. I was like, because he's like, should I? He's like, I could post about our move. I was like, yeah, you can. I was like, I'm probably going to do it. And I was like, there could be your perspective and then there could be my perspective. And he was like, okay. And so, yeah, get ready.
Get ready.
And he's going to he'll show the perspective of like all the shit that I don't, because I curate around shit. I make things look nice. And then I realized with Russell, he's just like,
point shoot.
I'll be like, bro,
point shoot. This all content. Let's go.
I'm like, I need some warning, like something. Like I need you to keep it on you and your perspective. What's going on in your life? Okay.
Oh, we gonna see Courtney. We gonna see Courtney. Hair everywhere, trying to figure it out. Y'all need to call Courtney's brother, man.
Yeah, he's hilarious. And then there's Matthew, who like he's been like, so for me, I've been like wrapping things up with Gumbo Fit and like making sure that we're good to go and like trying to my best to get us to a place where like everybody feels comfortable with me not being around in person. And like Mike Brown, who has been with me since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically, yeah, it was Mike is like, I met Kelsey first via Windrunners and then she joined us. But like Mike has been the one person who like, he's, I don't even know. Sorry. I know I'm speaking like I'm trying to wrap it up. I'm trying.
Let's go.
He's basically, he's just like the guy that's been there since the beginning. And he's from Chicago and he's about to take the reins. He is the captain now. And I'm excited for him to see him grow as a leader and just like support him in like the Chicago efforts. So that'll be a to-do. I'll keep everyone updated on that. But like so far, so good. Same with Picasso is like his second, the way that Mike used to be my second, you know. Mm-hmm. Maya's out in Philadelphia. Candace is still, Candace is Candace. She's also been there since the beginning. Like Kelsey's been there since me. It was me, Mike, and Candace and Kelsey who trained for the marathon.
Wait, no, first of all, no, it was not.
It was.
No, it was not.
Kelsey popped in later.
It was me and you and Carly. And Carly like dropped out really fast.
Oh, wait,
and then it was me and you. And then it was Mike, Candace, and Kelsey and stuff like that. This revisionist history.
I forgot.
I was the first captain.
Ian, you're my number one. You were the first one. You popped. Low key though, Ian, you came out and your energy. I was like, he's a character. And then you kept coming out, and I was like, yes. And then before you really knew it, I was like, that's my friend. But yeah, like Carly, and Kelsey already had a bib. Mike already was training, and then we just started running together. So that was I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So there's that, and then Matthew and I have been just preparing for this move for a few months, several months, and we're down to the wire. We got our stuff picked up. Like the movers came and they picked up our stuff from our apartment. We've been packing on and off for the past couple of weeks, and that's like mainly Matthew who has been packing. I like touched my first couple boxes like maybe 3 days ago, and so and then it was the first time that we hired movers,
right?
It's like I was still tired at the end, but I wasn't nearly as tired as I would have been if I had to put boxes into a...
Oh, shit. Listen, I can only imagine. No. I'm never moving without movers again. Like, this is it.
No. I mean, I did it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then after that, I would never do it again. I'll never do that again. Yeah. So now we're here. So yeah, I'm hiring movers forever. But I'm telling you.
And they driving your shit across country?
Yeah, it's on its way right now.
Oh my God.
It's over there. And then it's like, if they get there before us, they'll put our stuff in storage. They have free storage for a month, which is great. Cause I mean, again, I'm debating on, I'm like, do people care about how much things cost? Because I'm willing to share that too, just out of like transparency. Cause I'm like, this shit is not cheap, but it's also doable, but it's also like an experience. But getting what?
Hey, what's an experience?
It's an experience to have, like, it's an experience to have your shit picked up and like orchestrated getting moved across country.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying buying your shit from you is an experience. I'm like, Courtney, come on.
What is?
I thought that you were trying to say that you would be selling some of your stuff. and
No,
that buying it from you is an experience.
no, I
I'm
was
like, okay.
saying sharing the price of moving.
Oh, yeah, no, that shit crazy.
Yeah, and like, but the price of moving cross country, or like the thing that like what things cost. I've just seen like some YouTubers who are just open about that, and it's just like people like it. So I may or may not be sharing, but I'm just like, but I'm also just open to it. Like if you ask me, I'll just be like, yeah, whatever. But then there's the house part because we're moving, and Matthew and I, we've been sharing the same office for a while, and literally this is his computer is right there. And his computer back faces the right side of my face, and it's just teeny tiny. So like I have to kick Matthew out when I'm recording. We try to orchestrate when we're having meetings and yada yada yada. And so now we're like, okay, we need a 3-bedroom. And we're going to each have our own office space because I also want to make content. I also want to do stuff. And then we also need a backyard and all this stuff. So we're looking for a single family home to rent in LA.
Oh my God.
And then in addition to that, in the beginning, Russell's going to live with us, but then we're going to find him his own place as well. So that he has like a gym in it, rooftop type stuff, the amenities type stuff, so that he can have more of like an independent life with our assistant.
Just completely, and let me know if this is okay to ask, but like completely independent or like semi-assisted?
No, I mean independent in that he's over there, but I'll still help. We're going to help subsidize his rent, right? We're going to pay partial of his rent. We're going to pay and I'm going to help him get groceries and like he, you know what I mean? We're in the same city, but he around the corner. We have our own house, because we've been living together for a while, and it's like we need to be separate. Just because it's just, allows him to have his privacy and we can have our privacy, which he wants. Like we both are, and he's grown so much since he moved in with us originally. So he's lived by himself in the past too, but now he's at a place where he knows how to cook. And I've showed him a little bit of like, cleaning techniques that and then like just everything where like he can do it all by himself. And
well, that's more what I was speaking to when I was asking about assisted, because my brother lives in assisted living and whatnot, but my brother is autistic and he is like he is on a completely different end of the spectrum. Like he's not functioning at all, as far as being able to live on his own and stuff like that. But I know there's like even levels to assisted living and stuff like that. So that was more so my question with Russell, because it's like I wasn't sure, if he could cook and stuff. Like I know he can go grocery shopping, he can do all of that, cleaning. I'm understanding it's probably super doable, but I was just really curious about stuff like cooking and preparing the meals and stuff like that. Is that something that he would live in a space where there's somebody to help with that, or will he have somebody to come through that isn't you and Matthew to assist with those, certain things and stuff like that? I'm really curious to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, so he is like physically disabled in the sense that he has balance issues and that he's like legally blind out of one eye, but he can see just fine on the other. And so like, and he has some like social skills that he, that is lacking, but like he does everything himself. Like, and that's what's frustrating about where he's at with his disability is because he's so high functioning and he can pretend to be normal, quote unquote normal, but you talk to him for a second and then you realize that like he's different. And so he is and so it frustrates. He definitely has moments of frustration, but then like again, like we've been working together on that, and like I think he just is really honest with people from up front, and just with himself. But like like he can do a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff he can't do. Like he'll never be able to drive. Like there's like if he's looking for a job, there's like just certain things he can't do because of his balance, like hand-eye coordination and stuff like that. So like but he can have a part-time job. Like he can he can push carts. He can like greet people. He he could be a greeter. He could do all these things. And so it's like it's about finding exactly what's right for him. That's why like acting is a good option for him. I think that has been a good option for him since he like did acting classes in Chicago. He's like wants to do it again in LA. I think he could be really in a niche pocket because like,
Yeah.
he can represent a certain population through acting. And so, yeah, so the goal would be like, yeah, he has his own place, but 10-minute, 15-minute drive away.
I love that.
Anything, close to wherever he needs to be. Cause like places like in Culver City, it's like basically like kind of like a lake view kind of sort of where like everything is right there and you just can like walk there. So that's the thought there. And then he loves working out every day. So he just needs a gym in his building, maybe a pool, little outdoor seating. He loves to do his content.
Yeah.
So he, and then he can have his whole place with content and like he can do whatever. And then I'll just, I'll be over at his house a lot. He'll be over at our house a lot. But ultimately, like having our own individual places is what it is. And like maybe one day he'll have a girlfriend. And then, like it's just.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's real. Like even my older brother, being, they get to a point, where it's just like, I don't know, because our brothers are completely different, completely on different ends of the spectrum and stuff. And but even to him with like just low functioning, like there's a point in time, like he just turned 40, but there was a point in time when he was in his early 30s where it just the switch just flipped. Like no, like I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do that. And he has a hard time. He cannot communicate the things that he wants to do and doesn't want to do because he just doesn't have that skill or whatnot. But it'll surface in like moments of frustration and anger and things like that, and outbursts and stuff like that. And you kind of got to learn to read the signs and read in between the lines and stuff like that. So it just came to the point where it's just like, okay, you living at home doesn't work because of course, my grandmother and my mother see him as just, just defenseless little child when he like a 30, 40-year-old man. And so they treat him like a child. And he like, my nigga, like I'm not a child. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
About it.
Exactly.
And so now he's in an assisted living, actually 2 blocks away from where my mom lives now and stuff like that. And it's completely like, it just works. He comes over, he has a good time, he hangs out. When he's ready to go back home, get back into whatever it is he's doing and stuff like that. So it's really interesting because I know in the next 5 or 10 years is in the next 5 to 10 years when my mom getting older and then, even past, when even after my mom passed and whatnot, like, that responsibility for him is going to come on to me. So
yeah,
it's interesting just watching the decisions that you make for your brother and stuff like that, and seeing what that journey is like. Because even though Nick is low functioning, like I don't really care for where he is right now. I want him to be in somewhere, kind of fucking nice.
Exactly. And that's how I feel. Like Russ will be like, I don't want to be in a group home. I don't want to have assistant living. I don't want to do it. And I'll be like, we've had this conversation so many times. And it's like, okay, fine. I mean, he has had an apartment by himself. Like he knows that he can live by himself. And now he's older. He's 27 now. So it's like, he's not a child, to your point. He's not a child. He just has disabilities. And so like certain things, and it's like, there are people who are living with disabilities around us all the time that you probably don't notice. And that is their truth. But like, ultimately they're still independent humans. And so like, it's something that for me, it's like, I had to kind of take on that motherly role in the beginning. And then like, I, in some ways very much treat him like a child. Cause I have my moments where I'm just like, who are you speaking to? What are you actually feeling right now? You know what I mean? And like, let's figure out how we can properly communicate. But yeah, he just needs to kind of be, I think he also just needs to be put into it in a new space, a new frame of mind of like living by yourself, having like the experience that he's had with us and put it to work. And then it's like, And it's like, we go to Whole Foods and we get him our Trader Joe's and we get him like the instant rice and we get him like we give him things that he can like bake and like microwave. He's not a chef, but he can put together a meal. He's very healthy. He wants to eat like frozen veggies and rice and like vegan chicken nuggets is his favorite thing. But like, and but ultimately he goes to the store, he shops for himself, he knows what he wants. But then when there's certain things where I'm like, okay, I have to make sure that certain things are done because I know he's not going to be able to do it.
Right. So then, that's cool. I'm loving this offer, Russell. Like, let's make this happen. And then, so then Gumbo Fit, what is this really looking like? I know you say Mike and Picasso, pretty much Mike is taking over. Picasso, it'll probably end up being a second and whatnot. Like, what's it do? How are, how, how can I ask this question? Are they taking over in the sense of like logistically, like, okay, this is the vision for Gumbo Fit. You guys are in charge of making that happen in Chicago. Or is it also where it's just like, all right, guys, like, here you go. Like, this is it. I am here. I am still present. I am not on the ground though. But whatever you see for this year going forward, I am here to help make that happen. Like, drive home your vision of what you think this year for Gumbo should look like, and maybe even going forward. Like, what's the approach with the Gumbo Fit situation?
Yeah, I would say it's what you said was the latter. And it's the latter what you said, because I spent after the marathon last year, we went on like our retreat. Like, since that point, we've been talking about, okay, I'm not going to be here come summer. And then my whole thing was, what do you all want to do? So like how you're seeing track programming, that's Picasso and Kelsey's brainchild. How you're seeing like even the accelerator program, that's a little bit of me, but that's like Mike and Candace and everybody. And also I would say Kelsey and Picasso too. And it's like, because they want people to pull from and bring on as like captains. Because like right now we have this accelerator program that we're not really talking about publicly, but like every week we're meeting, we're talking, and we're ultimately like, we've identified people who we see as potential leaders, much like what Nike Chicago is doing right now with their program. It's like, but we're finding people who haven't started their run club yet, or might be interested in joining Gumbo Fit really, and sharing the knowledge that we have from being on the ground and spending it a little bit more intimately as a group of mentors. And then hopefully from that, we get like one or two people who want to like stick with us. And then those are the people that like Mike can utilize when the other directors are not there or something like that. So like to kind of make a good core team. But yeah, like everything in Chicago, like Mike, I've gotten to the point several times within the last couple months where I'm just like, what do you think, Mike? What do you want to do? Like, what are the standards that we have here? And it's like, because I want to support and help them bring their vision to life more than anything. And then I would like to be in LA and then do what I feel I would like to do and bring to reality. But then I would like it to be a connection where we have New York and LA and Chicago working together, so that like, we've been talking about how cool it would be to have people come out for the LA Marathon in March. It's like, that would be great. And then we could I could host a shakeout run, because by then I'll be a little bit more familiar with LA. Like we can actually do stuff that's like still like Gumbo Fit oriented that's in LA. And it's like, obviously there's something to be said about engaging with the other run clubs, but at the same time, it's like, if people love the Gumbo Fit brand and we have people in both cities, like to be able to have some familiarity, I think goes a long way. And so that's the approach that we're taking.
Okay. I mean, that answers my question thoroughly. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I can't wait to see what the entire summer looks like for Gumbo Fit. I know a lot of runners are anxious and excited, especially with marathon training underway and stuff like that. So, man, we can't wait. I know everybody will be watching you and Gumbo Fit very close.
Yeah. And I feel like too, it'll be fun to have like, okay, people from Chicago posting, and then I can pop in from LA and say hey to everybody. And like, I'm not trying. And even when I'm in LA, like I want to first see what's going on in the running scene in LA. Like obviously there's Koreatown Run Club, but it's like, okay, but who else is out there doing the runs? Like where can I find a really dope track practice? Cause I don't think I'm going to be leading that in LA. I'm thinking for me, it would be more like trail focused. And then on a very like maybe month to month basis where like once a month we get out on trail and we run it, which would give me time to like really feel out different locations before inviting everyone out. But yeah, I'm not trying to overstep into anyone else's territory. I'm just trying to figure out, okay, depending on where I live too, there might not be runners where I live in the same way. So I could maybe just say like, I'm gonna be over here, come join me if you want to. And then if people come out, great. And then maybe that will like be a catalyst of a running movement in LA. I don't know.
Right. So, I love this. It's all just take it as it comes.
Yeah. But on a personal note, like as far as going back to moving goes, still don't know where I'm gonna live. About to leave for LA on Monday. Going on a 5-day road trip that Matthew planned out. God bless him. And all our stuff is gone out of the apartment. We're sleeping on air mattresses, and they're actually pretty comfortable. The low ones, not the big ones that like want to be and like they're a bed, but we got the low profile ones because I'm like, maybe we could use these for camping later.
Right.
And those are actually the more comfortable airbed for me.
Yeah. I love that.
So just putting that out there as a thought. And yeah, so and then tonight, which this podcast will be way after this, but like I'm excited for the going away party at the
oh shit, yeah, that's right.
Tribe Supper Club tonight at 7:30. Wanted to see my friends and say hi. And
yeah, we definitely be pulling up. We'll be out there. It's gonna be fun. OMG.
Yep.
I'm super excited.
That's it. And then whenever y'all come out to LA, holla at me. Let's go for a run. Let's go for a hike.
I don't know, man. Y'all got fucking lions out there and shit. Like
mountain lions.
Hell yeah. Like that's wild shit, man. That's wild.
Like whole ass, big bugs and like it's not the South, but it is crazy how like shit changes. Like the wildlife changes.
I'm you know what? I'm just gonna listen. I'm gonna watch you. I'm gonna see how you handle all of these things, and then we'll see. I will come visit, but it might not be on no trail. Or like in the city eating.
We're going on. The thing is, the trails are in the city.
So is the tiger and the lion.
We can hit. Look, we're gonna have what we're gonna do just for an easy thing. If you're feeling like, just give me what the easy thing is. We'll hit Runyon Canyon, and that's where everybody goes.
Okay.
And then you just kind of go up it, come back down. People just wake up early as fuck in the morning, go up, and it's just like it's super easy.
All right.
I think it's also the Culver City stairs, if that's correct, but who knows?
Who knows? The people
I'm gonna figure it out when I get
there. I can't wait. So wait, when y'all get there on Monday, I'm assuming y'all Airbnb and then y'all like.
No, we're leaving Chicago in a rental car on Monday.
Yeah,
and then we're taking a 5-day trip to LA. We're driving though.
Yeah, but you just say y'all don't have a place to live. So
no, but we could maybe potentially lock something in within that time.
Oh, this is interesting.
It's not going to stop.
This is down to the wire.
Down to the motherfucking wire. And the thing is I've heard a lot of people talk about how like when they move to LA, like you don't know. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you get there and you're like, I'm here right now, ready to move in with all my stuff. And like it is, we'll see.
This is wild.
Yeah. It's not uncommon. I just want to say, like, don't make it, for those of you contemplating whether to move and are scared from that tidbit of information, don't be scared because it's actually not that uncommon to not know. It's going to happen. No. It's not to say that we haven't applied for places, but it's just like, we're still in an unknown position.
I love it. This is exciting. It's like suspenseful.
How do you think I feel? Matthew's always like calm one.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious. I need to hear from him.
He's not calm. He's like, he's calm-ish, but he'll have these moments where he'll just be like, I just want to know where we're living. just want to know. I just want to know where we're living.
I mean,
Like, I know. I just be calm. It'll happen.
Matthew got to come on after y'all get settled.
Oh, I know, right? We can talk about it.
I need to hear things from his perspective.
He'll be like, "We'll be clearly packed." Da, da, da. Which is like, okay, I'm telling y'all right now. Like, he packed like a good 20, 25 boxes before I touched one, and it's okay.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I almost got my ass kicked the other night.
Why?
Trying to start this grill.
What happened?
I couldn't get it started, and Karen was in the house doing everything else.
Oh.
And it didn't dawn on me as to how many things she was doing. She was already frustrated about some shit. And so I was just, my ignorance, I was just adding on. And I was also not interested in dealing with the attitude that she already had.
Right.
So I was also being, a little dismissive, like, yeah, baby, whatever you want to do, go on through that.
No.
And that's not what she wanted from me.
No.
And stuff. And, there was just a lapse in communication last night that almost got my ass kicked. And I sat out in front of that grill for like 2 hours trying to get it started.
Trying to light the grill. Meanwhile, she's in there trying to push it together.
You know what I'm saying? But I told her, like, I thought she was in the cooking, which is the expectation. Like, he was in there doing the sides. I was going to handle the meat. Unfortunately, sometimes when you light in the grill, sometimes it's done in like it's ready in 20 minutes. Sometimes it's ready a little longer than that and stuff. And then I did the dumb shit too. Like, I cheaped out on the fucking charcoal. I knew I should have got Kingsford, and I got Kroger's brand, and that was stupid of me and shit like that, knowing what time we was grilling and stuff. So that was like the catalyst for me. And then I was like, hey babe, because I thought she was frustrated from some outside shit. And so I was like, hey babe, what you need? What you want? Like, you need to rub, like, you want me to rub your feet, kids, like, what you need and shit like that. So I was offering all these things that would probably be good answers if the frustration was rooted in outside shit. But by the time I started offering these things, what I did not notice was like, yeah, like, there's this outside shit, but as of right now, nigga, it's you. And so, so she was like, nah, I don't need nothing. I don't need nothing. And she needed a lot of things. And I was unaware. And so, yeah.
Do you know that the best thing to do when you're having a disagreement with your partner is to touch? And that'd be the time when you'd be like, nah. But yeah, the hug goes a long way. Sometimes Matthew and I just hug it out.
Yeah.
It's like, before we even go there, it's like, let's just
embrace.
Yeah. And then let's have a conversation. Because then it's like, remember, we love each other. Okay.
Remember? Never forget. Yeah, it was interesting. I probably would have done that had I realized what was going on. And I did not. I didn't realize we had dinner the next day and we was just kind of like reflecting on everything and stuff like that. And I was like, oh.
That's what was happening.
That's what was going on. Oh, I got you. I'm sorry. My bad. In my mind, I was agreeing with you and giving you the reins to do whatever you wanted, and that's not what you wanted. You wanted me to do some of the things. Got you. I was like, babe, just so you know, like, sometimes I miss the simple things, and I just need you to tell me. And we're good. We're good. I'm here for it.
Understandable.
But get that man a back rub when y'all find a place to live.
Yep.
Throw the gun on him. You know what I'm saying? Hit him with the hypervolt. You feel me? Rub his head. Put some oils on there, essential oils.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. Give him some love when y'all get to that place.
Oh yeah.
Are y'all stopping alone to see different things?
Yeah, we're gonna spend the night in a couple different places. Our goal is to drive like around 10 hours a day. So like he and I will do shifts. Yeah, and then we'll stop. There's like a couple national parks on the way that we want to hit.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of national parks these days. I used to have a roommate who was like, her name's Tiffany. She's like, I want to go to every national park. She was not a white girl.
I love it.
And I was like, why? And she's like, because they're beautiful. And then I didn't really realize until I was like at the Grand Canyon and like Bryce Canyon and like that shit and like I'm like, okay, Now I understand. Also,
I get it.
matter of fact, Zion. I was trying to say like Zion National Park. That blew my mind. I was like, this is what national parks are. So we're gonna hit a couple on the way to LA to start off our LA living the right way in nature.
I love this. I love this for y'all. I can't wait to see what happens and stuff like that, how this goes. I can't wait to see what this means for our podcast and how things go.
Ian's about to get flued out.
And that's really what I'm waiting for. It's really what's happening. It's really what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? I just want somebody to buy my ticket.
I'll be like,
wherever it needs to be.
I'm gonna be meeting new people and be like, well, I have this podcast and my co-host is in Chicago. He can be here too.
Yes, he can be. For the low cost.
He can be here too.
For low cost of a plane ticket.
Yeah.
He can be here as well. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be fun. This is going to be really, really cool. And congratulations. Congratulations on it all.
Thank you.
Well, I have to go. I have things I need to do. I got to get ready for this thing tomorrow evening. I got the RRCA training class this weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Are you taking it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yeah, I'm taking that.
I'm taking that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we about to start. We about to start. Well, when I say we, I mean last lap. Like, you know, full service, baby. Full service. We about to have it all. Like, I'm trying to do it all. Like, everything I can do is what we're doing. And stuff like that. So just look out for that. We're going to have some certifications. We may have some plans. We may have some things. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I love it.
I have nothing else to say. I'm done with y'all.
Okay.
I love y'all, though. Y'all have a good one.
And like and subscribe.
All of that.
Yes. All right, y'all. Peace.